Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is actually the final season preview episode of Banditland Boulevard for the regular season at least. Trevor Howard, Tony LaMonica is right there. Season finale in the South. The Bandits travel to Duluth, Georgia for this upcoming Saturday. Not a lot on the line for the Bandits, which is a great spot to be this time of year. You got to say the opposite for the Georgia Swarm. They have an entire playoff spot to be playing for right now, at least going into this week. A lot of questions going into this week. Will we see some starters be sitting? Will we see some key players be on the bench? Will we see some practice squad guys getting called up? Who's going to play? Who's not? We'll get all into that. Playoff implications, and we'll do a quick rundown of the standings as well. We'll do our usual stuff, players to watch, but feels good this year to be on this side. I remember this time last year, we were just fighting for a home field spot. Hopefully we can get home field advantage in some way, shape, or capacity. The Bandits this year, first place locked up. They took back Banditland after a couple tough outings in their home barn. They got a convincing win against Halifax. They're trending in the right direction. 13-4 on the year. Man, would you probably believe that the Georgia Swarm would want to trade places with the Buffalo Bandits right now, as far as the implications going into the last week of the season. But this is one of those games where we can just put our hands up and, however the game's going to go, the game's going to go. Can't really get too upset with how this one is going to turn out in the final game of the season. This preview could also be a quick preview of the first round of the playoffs. If the Georgia Swarm do clinch, their likely opponent would be the 8 seed Georgia Swarm versus the 1 seed Buffalo Bandits. So you might be seeing them play back-to-back weeks. So definitely something to keep our eyes on in that regard. But Tony, feels good to be where the Bandits are right now. To watch this game without, maybe having my heart skipping a couple beats during this game. I could watch it at a complete zen level. Don't really get a lot of those in the season. I really love where we are right now, and a lot of playoff implications on the line for the Georgia Swarm going into this one.
Yeah, this is a chance to now make a really tough choice. Do you want to have your starters continue their trend, especially with 2 convincing straight victories, one in Colorado and especially one in the final regular season game at home against Halifax? Put yourself in the shoes and the mindset of Johnny T. What would be the wise choice here? Do you save your starters and you let the rookies play? Do you let them come off of the practice squad just for this chance to say, hey, God forbid if any of our guys get hurt, knock on wood, that may not happen, but we pray that it don't. We need you to fill in the shoes and see if you guys can score the goals and make the plays happen too as well. But it's really up to the coaching staff of the Buffalo Bandits. It's up to them to think, are they going to be headhunting Vinc? Are they going to be going after our starters and try to take them out and try to knock off the number 1 seed as fast as possible by eliminating the talent on our team? But you got to realize the talent is a full roster for us. It does not matter. We are so dangerous because we've been talking about this all season long, about our depth and how good it's been. This is just a game to have fun and just to see where it goes. And then you can exploit their weaknesses. You can exploit their strengths. Take advantage of this. If, God forbid, Georgia does win this game, we know their playbook. And then we can exploit them when we come back home. I think that would be a wise decision.
Right. I don't see any negatives going into this week at all. Any negative implications on what could happen. The only one that's kind of outstanding to me is if you do start your starters, possibility of injuries, but we see a possibility of injuries every single week.
Of course.
That should always be a thought in the back of our mind every single week. But you pretty much just took the words right out of my mouth. Like, if this is the first round matchup, you're getting a little sneak peek of what the playbook's going to be looking like. Obviously, they're probably going to be switching some things up going from the regular season into the playoffs, especially in a one and done situation in the quarterfinals. But this gives you a chance because this is the first time the Bandits and the Georgia Swarm face against each other this year, and it comes at the end of the season. They haven't seen each other since game 1, or the only game of the quarterfinals last year, where that game went to overtime. We all know about that game. So this is the first time these two teams have meet. Georgia is kind of that sneaky under the radar team that I think personally would be a playoff team. When it's all said and done, depends on where they are going to be in the standings. I see this as a playoff team, and you know what? You might be seeing something out of the Buffalo Bills playbook here with Johnny T. You might see your starters play a quarter, and then maybe they sit the bench. But who knows? I mean, what I do want to see going into this week is I want to see some practice squad guys getting called up. I don't want to see all our starters out there. I mean, the more starters you see out there, that's the more injuries you can, I don't even want to think about injuries before going into the first week of the playoffs.
Nobody ever does.
No, absolutely not. But if we want to jump into some key players to watch, and we'll start with the Bandits this time.
Okay.
I want to see the status of Chris Kluche. Now, I actually ran into him yesterday at the Sabre store when he was at the Sabres and Leafs game last night. And we saw him walking around the Sabre store. He seems in high spirits. He seems to be in good spirits. We'll have to see if he plays against the Georgia Swarm. We were kind of talking to him about his injury, and he said he is feeling better now than he was about a week ago. So he is definitely recovering. That's number one. I want to see if Chris Kluche does play, because I think if he is healthy and ready to go, he's got to get his feet wet again. I don't think his first game back should be the first round of the playoffs, where you might be seeing him knocking some rust off and maybe the shots aren't really going through. Have this be his rehab game in baseball terms. Have this be his rehab stint in AAA before he comes back up to the big leagues. This, in a very, very low leverage situation, nothing to play for you guys. Put him in this game. Let him be Chris Kluche. Good things are going to happen.
Yeah, you might see like a good 3 or 4 goal night out of Chris and get his rhythm back, especially going into the playoff week. But like you also stated, do we take the risk in having the other stars like Dane or Josh get out there and then, God forbid, if it's a leg injury or you never know, or just out of the clear blue, just get hit without question, and that just takes them out for God knows how many weeks? We don't need to afford that right now. I think if Johnny T was really smart, he would save his goaltender, number one. I mean, he's got nothing else to prove. We know he's the best. Let Orelman or let Evan go play, and for all I care. Why not? Let them get their chance. Let them get their feet wet, and let's see if they can, fill the shoes if, God forbid, Matt Vinc gets hurt. But we don't want to say that either. Defensively, I wouldn't change a thing unless you rather like to see Taylor Dooley get the cobwebs off his shoulders, or even bring up Trent Robertson, just see how he could do. But other than that, I like the fact that you get Chris in there now, especially the week before the playoffs start, would be pretty much the wise decision.
Yeah, the only other thing that, that we're really kind of looking at here is, do you want to rest all your starters? Do you want to have them go into the playoffs, the first round of the playoffs, where it's essentially a one and done, ice cold, or do you want them to get some reps? And if you are going to put some of your starters in, which ones are you going to put in and which ones are you going to sit for the full game? So there's a lot of different scenarios that we can go over here. I think Dane and Josh should be the first ones to discuss. I don't even know if they should be really, I don't think they should play all 4 quarters if I were the coach. But how many times in the past have you seen Johnny T in this? Because we've seen the Bandits play in this scenario before, where they have clinched the number 1 seed a couple weeks prior to the end of the year. He really isn't the coach to rest their guys. So maybe this is kind of a moot point that we're really talking about here. Maybe Johnny T doesn't rest anyone. Maybe they want to finish off the season on a high note, get really, really hot going into the playoffs. That could be another possibility too. And we could be looking at another 14-4 season on our hands. They're already at that 13-4 season mark right now. So long story short, next player I want to watch, number 1, Josh Byrne, because not only do I want to see him start to heat up before, the first round of the playoffs, I also want to see how long he's going to be out there, if he's going to miss any time at all. I think, Tony, we can both agree Dane Smith too fits in that category. Kyle Buchanan fits in that category. I think Chase Fraser plays the entire game. I think Tehoka Nanakilk plays the entire game. If Chris Kluche is healthy, I think he plays the whole game. I think a Clay Scanlon would play the whole game. Can we throw some players to watch as a possibility Maybe some of our practice squad guys. You mentioned before, Taylor Dooley. Does he get some time? Like, do we maybe see a Zach Belter healthy scratch? Do we get to see Lucas Nilsson going out there playing? Do we see a Ryan Sharkey call up? Do we see Konstantinopoulos in between the pipes? Do we see Steve Orleman in between the pipes in a very low leverage game? These are all key players to watch. And what's funny about this week, number one, this is a good problem to have when you already have the number one seed locked up, and the only problem that you're looking at on the sheet is who the hell is even going to play. That's a great problem to have. The other thing that you are looking at is, okay, we can maybe see what the future has in store. If Konstantinopoulos does get the nod, which I would love to see, by the way, you can get a little sneak peek of, hey, this guy could be your future. This guy's been sitting behind the bench watching Matt and Vinc for, over 2 years now? You can get a little sneak peek of, hey, if Matt Vinc were to retire because he is on an expiring contract going into the offseason, here is what you could get. Obviously, he's going to grow with more games that he gets under his belt, but just a little sneak preview of what you could be getting. That will be interesting to me going into this game for sure. I think, though, realistically, if a goalie not named Matt Vinc gets the nod, it's probably going to be 44.
Yeah, I would agree, because Steve has been waiting patiently, I think, every time and time again to get his opportunities and his reps. He may see a lot more game time than Vinc. I mean, you could bring in Vinc maybe for, even like you said, we were talking about this prior, play him for a first half and let Steve take the rest of the reps. I mean, again, this game, technically speaking, does not matter to the Bandits because we've already have everything in lockdown. But when you put a team who is in dire need of a playoff hope, they're going to bring everything to this team, to both the offense and the defense side for the Bandits. So we got to know, we know for a fact that we're going to go in for a war. Regardless, we know the battle has already been won. But the fact is that they're fighting for a playoff spot, not us. And that could really be scary to see the immense, what's the word for it? Oh, their very best, let's just say, against us. And you know what? Again, you could take the good with the bad about this, because it's basically saying, we've exploited you. We know your game plan. And God forbid if we have to face you in the first round for the one game knockout, we know we can beat you now, because we literally know what you're going to do.
And think of the confidence boost it would be if the Bandits go in and win this game while Georgia has everything on the line.
Sure.
And Buffalo has nothing.
We've got nothing to lose.
And if Buffalo comes out on the winning side of that, that shows you the true, I was going to say talent, but lack thereof of talent that the Georgia Swarm have. If the Bandits go into this game more motivated than the Georgia Swarm, based on the premise of stay hot before the playoffs start, keep this little hot streak going, when Georgia is literally fighting for a spot in general, that speaks volumes. That speaks more than anything else. And where Georgia sits right now in the standings, they're not all that great right now. They're not all world. The best they can do is 500 at 9-9. They sit at 8-9 right now. And we'll get into the standings once we get through our players to watch for the Georgia Swarm. But I think at this point, you guys know the
talk about
suspects. Who dominated the quarterfinals last year? Lyle Thompson, Brett Dobson. Just two names right off the rip that completely showed up. Almost pulled out a victory there in the first round against the Bandits. But, obviously ending the game in overtime with Josh Byrne. Those two players I named, the netminder, Brett Dobson, one of the best in the game. He's kind of had a down year this year, though. Teams have really started to figure him out. But Lyle Thompson, I mean, dude, 90 points. Those are Lyle Thompson numbers. We are seeing Lyle Thompson put up Lyle Thompson type of numbers. He is one of the best forwards in the entire National Lacrosse League and has been for years.
Yeah, he has. And that's another thing, too. It's like a player you have to, just limit him to, a 2-goal night. But if he finds a rhythm and he gets more than a hattie and he goes beyond that, like Ryan Lee did with Colorado, it's like that's the only guy you go for the scoring. If you can't shut down Lyle Thompson, it's going to be a very long night for the Buffalo Bandits. And you got to also remember that Dotson did not give up at all during that quarterfinal one-game knockout last season. He kept them in the game for as long as possible. So kudos to Dotson, for a guy who just came in and actually is playing out of his mind. hard to score against, number one. And if you don't find a pattern or a weakness in him, he's going to be on lockdown all night. And that's going to be very difficult for the Bandits to figure him out. If, God forbid, knock on wood, we see him again the following week.
Right. I mean, Brett Dobson, it really depends on who he's facing against, what team he's facing against. There are nights where he's been red hot, and there's nights where he looks like Swiss cheese. Really,
right.
what Brett Dobson are we going to get on Saturday night? And who knows? I mean, sometimes, you see this in the NFL all the time. Teams that have nothing to play for can be the most dangerous. We could go out and see we could go out here and see the Bandits absolutely squash them. And another piece of motivation for the Bandits, because I know every time the Bandits and Swarm face against each other, it feels like a trap game.
Yep.
Johnny T's probably looking at inside his locker room right now, looking at all the players in their face and say, guys, we have the chance to knock them out of the playoffs.
Sure can.
Is that some motivation that the Bandits could be using going into this week? I think so.
I would agree.
Do you want to see these guys in round one where it's close every time you guys face against each other? Or do you want to take matters into your own hands and ruin their playoff hopes in front of their home fans in the final week of the season? The Bandits have the opportunity with nothing on the line. Everything's locked up for them. All their work is done, at least for the regular season.
Correct.
They have the chance right now to play with house money and knock out their old foes out of the playoffs and their playoff hopes in front of their home fans. I really didn't think about that till just now, Tony. That's a real possibility because, the Bandits and the Swarm, they have had some history between the two teams. And
sure have.
Especially in the last 3 or 4 years or so, every single time these guys face against each other, it's close. Sometimes the Bandits end up on the winning end. Sometimes the Swarm end up on the winning end. Do you want to risk that? Do you want to take a high-risk gamble and face against them in a winner-takes-all, one-game series in the quarterfinals? Or do you want to end it in Game 18 and face against somebody else in the first round? That's another thing that we got to think about.
That's true. But, again, just don't even think about who you're going to be facing in the first round. You first have to go through Georgia to find out what you're capable of. You already run a 2-game winning streak. Keep the pedal to the metal. Just don't stop. Play till your heart's content until you lose. Right now, the way when we did last year, we never lost a game at all. We went in there and we just went full gas pedal to the ground, burning rubber. We never stopped until it was done. And that's what I think the Bandits should be doing right now. They've got 2 great games, convincing wins, if I may steal something from what you said. And you go into Duluth, Georgia, and you do the same thing. You put a statement down. You make a statement every game you go out there from here on in. You say, look, you want to beat the champs, you have to beat the champs. You want to be the champs, you have to beat the champs. Just say, look, guys, you got something to prove. We don't. We're on top of the mountain. You're trying to climb it.
Right.
So let's see what you can do.
Now, I do have the official clinching scenarios for the Georgia Swarm going into this week for their playoff thing. It's so nice being on this side of the winning team. We don't even have to worry about this stuff anymore. This is a laundry list of scenarios that could happen. The Swarm could clinch a playoff berth with a win against the Bandits on Saturday and one of the following. So they need help. They need help. They don't control their own destiny totally. And either one of these options, a Colorado loss versus Calgary.
Could happen.
I could see that. Or a Calgary loss versus Las Vegas. Not likely. Or a Calgary loss versus Colorado because Calgary plays twice this weekend. They play Colorado and Las Vegas back-to-back nights. That should be interesting looking at the standings. What's going to happen at the end of the year for Calgary? Holy crap. I'm glad I'm not in their position either.
Nope.
A Calgary loss versus Colorado and a San Diego win versus Albany. Or a Calgary loss versus Colorado and an Ottawa loss versus Saskatchewan. So the Georgia has to win, number one. And Colorado either has to lose to Calgary, or Calgary has to lose to Vegas, or Calgary has to lose to Colorado and San Diego has to beat Albany, or Calgary has to lose against Colorado and Ottawa has to lose to Saskatchewan.
Jeez.
So
good Lord.
Georgia can only control what they can control, and that's winning their own game. They can't control what Calgary's doing. They can't control what Saskatchewan or Ottawa or Colorado's doing. They have to play their own game. Is it too little, too late for this point? At this point for Georgia, I mean, they got some good players. We already mentioned some of the players to watch: Lyle Thompson, Brett Dobson, Andrew Q,
Joey Caputo,
Bomberry. I mean, they got some really, really good players on that team. They're just kind of in a down year right now. Yeah. And just looking at a quick look at the standings. The Bandits sitting pretty, 13-4 in first place. Second place, Saskatchewan at 12-5. Third place, Halifax at 10-7. Fourth place, Vancouver at 10-7. Fifth place, Rochester at 10-7. Sixth place, as of right now, they've only played 16 games going into the final week of the season. They got a doubleheader this weekend. Calgary at 8-8 at 500. Georgia in 7th at an 8-9 record. And the San Diego Seals in 8th at an 8-9 record. But when you look at these teams in the 9-10 spot, Ottawa is also 8-9. They have the same record, but they don't have enough tiebreakers to at least crack through the top 8 as of now. That could easily change over the weekend. And then in 10th, you have the Colorado Mammoth, 8-9. And then you have 11 and 12 that are still hanging on for dear life for a playoff spot right now, where everything
they need a lot of help.
These two teams, Albany and Philadelphia, in 11th and 12th in the league right now, still mathematically alive in the playoffs. So you got the 4 teams that are locked up right now: Buffalo, Saskatchewan, Halifax. You got 5 teams actually: Buffalo, Saskatchewan, Halifax, Vancouver, Rochester. You got 3 positions left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams fighting for those 3 spots.
Right. It's a last week decision for a lot of teams. I mean, it could be flip-flopped, not for Buffalo or Sass, but for everyone else from 3rd to 8th in a heartbeat. It's so scary.
That was why I said this could be a preview of the first round of the playoffs. Obviously, a couple things need to happen first, but it's a possibility. If you are in the scenario of the Georgia Swarm, would you rather be a Swarm player that's only playing 1 game but doesn't have control of his own destiny, or would you rather be a Calgary player who can control their own destiny but has to play 2 games over the weekend? That is why I keep saying I'm happy where the Bandits are right now. Yeah, I'm so happy where the Bandits are right now. They took care of business in the season. Sure, did they run through a little bit of a skid there in the middle second half of the season? Yeah,
sure did.
They've won the last 2 in a row. They won the last home game. They seem to be in good spirits right now. So, you know what? It's going to be crazy. And if I had a prediction of who's going to take the last 3 spots, I have no idea. You got some teams playing 2 games over the weekend. You have some teams playing 1. You have some teams that can control their own destiny and some teams that really can't. What the Buffalo Bandits can do is completely stomp out the Georgia Swarm's hopes and dreams and just beat them in front of everyone. And then that's a team off the board right there. With a Georgia loss, they're not making the playoffs.
That's right.
Georgia has to win to stay advanced. So they're already going to be motivated to go into this game. The Bandits can either go 13-5 or 14-4 to end out the year. They got the 1 seed locked up. It's better than my prediction that I had in the beginning of the season. I had them going 12-6, at least getting in the top 3 of the standings. So at least I got that right. But I love where we are right now. I just get to sit back and watch the madness this weekend. Not just the Bandits, but some of the other NLL content on ESPN Plus this week too, because I don't like being a part of the drama. I like just listening to everything. And that in this scenario, I'm going to be watching every little bit of it, because I know in a low leverage situation, I could just put my hands up. I could just relax watching the Bandits. You don't get to see that very often. So enjoy it while you can. This is just the calm before the playoff storm. But it's calm for the Bandits, not for some of these other teams fighting for the 5, 6, 7, 8 seed. It's going to be interesting. Yeah,
well, this is the beauty part about it. We can just sit back and watch a a very fun game of lacrosse between the Bandits and the Swarm without worrying about nothing, because we're going to be going to the playoffs this year. We've got home field throughout the entire time. It's all about planning now. It's about what to do from after week 18 and going forward. But the thing is, for the other teams fighting, this is the kind of lacrosse you want to watch, because it's the calm before the storm. And believe me when I say this, is that it's going to be exciting to watch these teams tear the crap out of each other to claw their way to the playoffs this year. And the Bandits can just look and go, is there anything left for us? I mean, I would love to try, but I mean, if you're going to just take them out for us, that's great. So that's the kind of mentality I see it as. But it's going to be fun to watch regardless, back and forth, fast-paced lacrosse action. You're not going to want to miss that, folks. So glue yourself to the TV screens. I'm guaranteeing you that we're going to have to find any possible weaknesses in these teams to exploit them when, God forbid, they come to our barn.
And that really brings up another thing, too. The Bandits are in prime striking position right now where they can have the attempt or the absolute chance to pounce on a team that exerted all of their energy the week prior just to make the playoffs. You might be seeing a team that is completely out of gas, completely low energy going into the first round of the playoffs, while the Bandits are kind of just like, we almost took the week off. Like, we already had the 1 seed wrapped up. We looked at that as a rest week, as a little dress rehearsal for the first round of the playoffs. You're going to get a fully energized Bandits team going up against an 8 seed team who has the chance to be completely gassed out, completely out of energy. And in that scenario, especially given the fact that it's at home in front of 19,070,
hell yeah,
I like those odds. And I like the odds of going back to the championship due to the fact that you have a 2 out of 3 safety net going into the second round and the third round if you get there. So as long as you get through round 1, the potential of three-peating, that is when it becomes more than just a possibility. That is when you're looking at, okay, these guys can really take it. When you have that best 2 out of 3, you have a little bit of wiggle room to work with, and it's not just a 1-game series. That's when the odds for the Bandits to three-peat skyrocket. So just take it 1 week at a time. It starts with this week, really just the dress rehearsal for the first round of the playoffs. Obviously, you're going to be on the road, and it's going to be interesting. Like Tony and I said, we beat this horse to death, but who's going to start, who's not? Who are some of the starters that are going to sit the bench? Is Matt Vinc going to play? Personally, I would not dress him to play, but who's going to play, who's not? It's going to be interesting to see. All we have to do is sit back and watch the madness, watch the chaos.
Yep. And I think whatever Johnny T's got cooking up, and we're going to just have to go along with the ride. So buckle up, Bandit fans. It's going to be interesting to see how this last week goes. But other than that, I have a strong feeling we're going to do just fine. I think we're going to be fine, especially with our secondary.
Tony, we have a chance of going 0 for 18 on score predictions.
God, it was so close last week. Why couldn't they score 1 more each? Oh,
we got one last shot at
one last. Well, no. We have more than one shot because we got playoff mode coming in.
One last shot for the regular season.
All right.
Hopefully we have a lot more opportunities to get these score predictions right, if you know what I'm saying, going into the playoffs.
Yes.
But, okay, this might be the hardest one too, because we don't know who's playing. We don't even know who the hell is going to be who's going to be in goal for the Bandits. We have no idea. So this might be the hardest one. And watch this. This one might be the one that we actually get right. Who knows?
Maybe.
I got the Bandits though, winning 13-10 in Duluth, Georgia, finishing off the season 14-4, riding high going into the first round of the playoffs.
Okay. If you want to say you want to put the nail in the coffin to Georgia Swarm's playoff hopes and dreams, I will definitely go along for the ride. I don't see the Bandits giving up more than 10 if that's the case need be. They put a stamp on, they put the statement down, and they pretty much say it in paper. Bandits win 15-8.
Okay. 7-goal victory to put the Georgia Swarm away for the year. Hey, I wouldn't mind that either. Because I know the potential of the Georgia Swarm if they make the playoffs and how sneaky and how under the radar they can be. And we can talk about trap games till a freaking cow.
It could be. It still could be.
It can be. I want to eliminate the problem before it starts. I personally don't want to see the Georgia Swarm in the playoffs, if I'm being completely real.
We don't want to see anybody in the playoffs. We just want to win our third just like that.
Yep. we know what the Georgia Swarm
it's got to be tough
in the playoffs, and I don't know if that's a road that I really want to go down again.
Yeah, well, we have no choice. We're already in first place. We have to keep going down the same street, so it's all right.
And the problem before it starts. Well, we got the Bandits both winning. We got the Bandits both going 14-4. Tony, to wrap up our last regular season preview of the season, time to shout out the sponsor.
Banditland Boulevard would like to thank our main sponsor, and that is Mitchell's Tavern, located at 734 Sheridan Drive, up in Tonawanda, New York. Guys, I'm telling you, Banditland Boulevard, Trevor Howard, myself, Tony LaMonica, want you to go there. We want you to say, hey, these guys said you guys have the best food, amazing service, and you said we're family here. Well, take our word for it. Go ahead and check it out, because Mitchell's Tavern is now becoming more and more popular, because they will be having also the Bandits Watch Party this Saturday as well. If you guys want to go check it out, 75-cent wings. You guys do not want to miss out on those, because let me tell you something. Are they good? Also, we'd like to thank Herney's Journeys. If you guys want to book your next big adventure or vacation, please contact Suzanne Pike at SuzannePike@Herney'sJourneys.com. Let her book your next big adventure. Also, we'd like to thank those who have been watching us here on the StreamYard through YouTube. Give us that like, subscribe, hit that notification bell every time we talk about Buffalo Bandits lacrosse. And also for those who listen in on every device known to man on Spotify, on your tablet, your phone, your radio stations, give us that 5-star rating that we talk nothing good about we do talk something good about the boys in orange and black. Let me correct that statement of the Buffalo Bandits lacrosse.
That's right. That's right. Hey, take it game at a time, take it quarter by quarter, just ride this one out. Let's just stay healthy and get ready to go for the playoffs. What do you say?
I'd say that's a great idea, and that would probably be one of the keys to victory. Don't get hurt. Right. Just stay calm, play to have fun, and if you screw up, you screw up. That's the only one. Don't get hurt. Just play.
That's the only time where we'll ever say, if you take a penalty, it's not
just go to the box.
It's not catastrophic. You know what? This should be the week where the Bandits take 12 penalties. Get all the penalties out of the way before.
Get it out of your system right now. Just say fuck it.
Yep. Hey, you know what?
Just say goodbye.
Keys to the game, keys to a victory is just don't suck.
Just don't suck and have fun. That's all you can do.
That's it. Hey, we managed to get a key to a victory in there in a game that really doesn't matter for the Bandits. How about that?
That's also true.
But
that's also true.
To end and wrap up the show, we always end it with these 3 words. And Tony, what are those 3 words?
As the good old Chris Swenny would say, in 3, 2, 1. Let's go, Bandits!
Bandits.
Let's go. First place for a reason. Going for the 3-peat. Boys and girls, get into your seats. It's going to be a ride. Let's go, boys.
While you're at it, eliminate the Georgia Swarm. Who cares?
Knock them down.